level with that, I would say, in importance is how I listen. And what is it that this pet owner feels heard? No veterinary textbook has taught me compassion.
Hi, I'm Tori Mystic, and you're listening to the Wear Wag Repeat Podcast, the only show dedicated to supporting women in all areas of the pet industry. Hey everyone, I'm Tori Mystic, and you're tuning in to another episode of the Wear Wag Repeat Podcast. Thanks for being here. Today, we are getting into a heartfelt chat with the lovely Carla Finzel, a district veterinary nurse based in the UK. In this conversation, we cover the emotional depths of caregiver compassion fatigue, that very real strain that pet guardians feel when trying to administer care to their pets, especially as they age or have different illnesses or chronic diseases they're dealing with. Carla was in the trenches at an emergency vet clinic practice for years, and she shared a fascinating tidbit from her journal that she kept over those years. She observed that so many pets who came in, while not in immediate danger, could have hugely benefited from an in-home veterinary nurse visit or a vet tech visit. By being there for pet owners in this unique way, Carla's not only lending a hand to pets and their people, but also easing the load on veterinarians. We also explore the invaluable human-animal bond that we share with our pets and its incredible significance. What we really want to leave you thinking about after you listen to this episode is the immense value that in-home veterinary services can bring. They can prevent bigger health issues, shorten illness durations, and ultimately ensure that we get to enjoy more time with our faithful companions. So are you ready to get to know Carla? I know you're going to love this interview. Let's do it. Qualifying as a registered veterinary nurse in 2001, Carla Finzel has worked in Spain and the UK in general veterinary practice as well as emergency and critical care. Her passion for One Health, One Welfare led to the development of the role of District Veterinary Nurse. Her mission is to raise standards of pet nursing care within the home, all while considering the vital importance of the human-animal bond. She is often faced with a challenge to reconcile the immediate needs of clients at home with obligations under the UK veterinary regulations, which I'm very interested to learn more about. Welcome to the show, Carla.
Hello, how are you, Tori? Thank you for having me here today. And it was lovely to meet person Lucy around there.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you here. And you just have such a wonderful spirit and energy. And I hope that whoever's listening to this episode can pick up on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Likewise.
So why don't we dive into it just straight away and tell us about how you decided to transition from working in veterinary practices to doing in-home veterinary nursing care, because that's such a wonderful service and a great niche. And how did you get inspired to do that?
Well, I worked in practice for 9 years full-time in emergency and critical care out of Hours Hospital in Brighton. And, I have 22 inpatients. It'll be one vet and me answering the phone for 17 clinics in the area. We'll be dealing with gastric torsions, cesareans, epileptic patients, emergencies coming, road traffic accidents, all sorts. And I just sort of kept a diary over the years, how many animals were actually hospitalized that actually were none of those acute cases. There were more with us to administer the treatment plans the vets have prescribed because the pet owners found them very challenging. So if you were to say, for example, the vet prescribed quite rightly, say, eye treatment, say to a dog every 6 hours, and it'll be the treatment will entail maybe 3 different eye drugs, ointment, drops, and lubrication. Say they had to be at least 10 to 15 minutes apart administer. So that's a good 45 minutes that it takes to do that between the time of administration and waiting, because you can't do all of them at once because some of them will be washed away by the other. So they'll take no uptake on the cornea. And that has to be done 4 times a day, every 6 hours. So 6 a.m. to 8 and midnight. People work. They need to work to be able to keep a roof over their heads, feed themselves, feed their animals, pay veterinary fees, eat well themselves to keep working. Okay. People have non-visible as well as visible disabilities. But however, unlike the human healthcare, if this was the equivalent of, if our patients were the equivalent of being an elder person, someone that couldn't walk, or a child, we have no referral system to community nurses or district veterinary nurses, but we do in human. This was very real, and I'm talking about just an eye medication to save a dog's eye for a pet owner that cannot administer the treatment herself, himself, for many reasons. Who are we to judge? So, and then you'll see that this animal is sitting there miserably and then stops eating. And then you have to place an esophageal tube to feed it by tube. And that's particularly palpable with feline patients, more so than maybe dogs, but and that's just something very simple.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my sister's dog, when he was getting elderly, had arthritis problems, and their vet prescribed Adequan injections. And she had to do subcutaneous injections herself at home. And she was really nervous. She was practicing on an orange like she was in med school or something.
Crazy.
And it is, it's asking a lot of people.
Yeah. Only that an orange doesn't move and doesn't have feelings, and it's not your baby.
Right.
It's not your companion, your family member. An orange, I always have found that mind blowing, actually. And you can tint the skin on an orange to create a tint, which is where you're going to inject.
Right.
The skin of an orange is taut, is not flexible.
Right. And it doesn't go like, also, it doesn't make any noises when you do it.
and that's it. And it doesn't move. And it's a completely different story, isn't it? And it's very daunting. Some people have never held a syringe and a needle before in their lives, so they don't have the dexterity. And it's almost like we all need to sit down and remember the first time we were seeing practice, work experience, or anything like that. And someone asks you, can you draw 0.5 mils of this to inject a dog or a cat or a rabbit or anything like that? You're all fingers and thumbs, you're nervous, your hands are shaking. And we do it without even thinking. But these people is like right back there to 30 years when you were in vet med school, And then I don't know any single vet ed or veterinary surgeon or anyone that cannot remember that experience and shaking and just thinking, my God. And we're asking these in 10 minutes in a consult room to do to a pet owner. Some are frightened, some inject themselves, and these drugs are very serious, If we actually, for whatever reason, we miss ourselves and we jab ourselves, we actually have to record it on a book And we have to tell the manufacturer company, is, any adverse reaction we have to declare or anything like that. Here we have Librela and Solencia. These have been, I think you've heard of them. You have them over there. Okay. And pet owners are administering this at home themselves. And,
yeah, it's very powerful.
It's very powerful stuff. Why cannot a veterinary nurse that is fully trained come and save them that nightmare?
So
like they're sweating.
Right. So you had this sort of idea that it sounds like it kind of slowly evolved as you were witnessing over several years, what people were coming in for. And so you started a business that does home veterinary nurse visits to help people.
That's it. So after a few years thinking, my God, all these animals are here because nobody is going out to them to help them. Not because veterinary professionals wouldn't want to, but because I just don't know. I just found it mind-blowing that, sorry, this is Orlando.
We have a little kitty cameo.
Yes. This is my friend. He pops in sometimes. Cats that get through doors.
It's not, he's not your cat. He just came in.
No, that's it. So he's a friend. But the owners know he's here.
That's so
sorry.
Fun.
I know, but you can't stop a cat to do that. Anyway, coming back. Sorry, I'm so sorry. This is your fault, baby.
That's okay.
So I began thinking and talking to many vets. I spoke to many vets from my own veterinary practice where I work and from neighboring veterinary practices that knew me very well from being the out-of-hours nurse that was always there. Yeah. And I said, you know what? If you were to find yourselves in your consulting room and you were worried about how that poor pet owner would manage what you're asking them to do, which is quite rightly the treatment plan that the animal needs to have. But if for whatever reason you think I could help, contact me. I'm going to stop being in practice, and I'm going to just take the plunge. I'm going to live on pennies. But I'm going to wait for a vet's call to go out. I wait for your call. If there is something I can help you with that means it can save that animal's life, it can keep that elderly person with their beloved animal companions for many years to come because there is no reason why this condition is chronic. It's like, you become something, you have it for many years, sometimes you can't take it back. I've had referrals from cats that were diabetic, and through the skill set of a veterinary nurse in the home, they've actually become stable really quickly, so quickly, because from the day it's diagnosed and they're then sent by a vet from any veterinary practice in my community, I get a formal referral sent to me. I can only work on the direction and instruction of the veterinary surgeon that animal is under the care of, and I wouldn't have it any other way anyway, because it's my protection and my safety as well. I don't know who could be calling me, asking me for help. The pet owner could be a genuine person. It could be someone that wants to harm me. And that dog doesn't exist, or that cat. But we've achieved remission on cats. It's not possible kind of on dogs, unfortunately. But cats, you have a window. If there is nothing that is internal medicine that is like a trauma or the pancreas is irreversible or anything like that. If it is just your average cat that is just a little bit obese, that is just tip over the scale, that is become diabetic because of it, we can reverse it. It's no problem. And I've had many cats come into remission. It's a life sentence. I've been diagnosed with diabetes. You're having to inject yourself morning and evening. Well, your animal morning and evening. The caregiver burnout is unbelievable, Like anytime you can make it home for an hour or two in the evening or in the morning to give that injection, you're sweating if you're running late from work, going on holidays, anything like that. I know that you can take them to catteries. that's fine. Go for it. But we need to think of the people that have disabilities
Yes. Well, and in their day-to-day life, because you
in
can
their
send them
day-to-day life.
to boarding
Yeah. Yeah.
when you go out
But
of
what is
town,
that?
but
Yeah.
that's for a weekend or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
totally understand the caregiver burnout, because my dog Bert is epileptic, and so he does take meds every day at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And in my opinion, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me is rescuing him for many reasons. But having to do something at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., it works really well for me because, I'll say, oh no, I can't go to your party, which I don't really want to go to anyhow, because I have to give my dog his meds. So it's worked out in many different ways, but also I've become more involved in my community with my neighbors, because some of my neighbors come and help me with Bert when I can't be here. And, giving a Labrador pills is very easy because he'll eat anything. So they just kind of toss it his way and it's no problem at all. But
let mommy birds with the little birds open their mouths waiting. Yes.
So he's very easy to take care of. But I some of my neighbors, I didn't even know their name 5 years ago. And now they come into my house. I go into their house. We help each other. And it's wonderful.
The power of the human-animal bond. Oh my God, goosebumps. Look at me. Look at my arms. They're just the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yes.
The human-animal bond.
I think it's also because Bert, everyone thinks their dog is the best dog. I think my dogs are the best dogs. But he has a wonderful personality. And so my neighbors and my friends and family who help me, they love him and they love helping because they feel like they're making a difference and they're helping him and they're helping me. And it's just a wonderful cycle.
Oh boy. And when they come in and give them the pills for you, how you go and give their animals or treatment or feed them or anything like that. My God, we could be flies on these walls. Maybe the conversations your neighbors have with Bert and Lucy when they come in.
Oh my gosh.
It would be amazing.
I have a camera. Camera in my front room, and I don't really watch my friends when they come over, but a couple of years ago I had some renovations done and I had contractors here, and I looked at the camera. I had to go out and do something, so I looked at the camera just to see if they were still here or if they had left yet. Yeah. And the moment I turned it on, one of the contractors was laying on the floor talking to Bert, just petting him and talking to him. And it was so cute.
Maybe he was trying to figure out and ask Bert's advice as to what quote to give or anything, or something that happened to him on the drive. Someone cut him and skipped the red light. And oh my God, he was so frightened. And God knows the conversations. I love that. I love that.
I was the fly on the wall that day. So that was kind of sweet.
Yes. Oh,
so you're doing wonderful work, just helping people. And I love how you point out that, I think a lot of times in the prescribed care for our pets, we're not always taking into consideration, like you said, the invisible and visible disabilities of the pet parent, because it's a lot for someone to take care of their pet. And when their pet's not feeling well, it's an enormous emotional stress. So how do you, help people? Because you're not just administering the care, but you're kind of listening and talking to people. So how does that come into play in your work?
It's very big. Listening is probably one of the, as well as giving that life-saving injection every day of insulin, as well as giving that heart medication, epilepsy medication, all of those things. Level with that, I would say, in importance is how I listen. And what is it that this pet owner feels hurt? that is no veterinary textbook has taught me that. No veterinary textbook has taught me compassion. And I'm very fortunate. Veterinary surgeons are very on board, because they really want to help pet owners as well. And when they send me referrals, they said, I'm really concerned, and I could see what a weight on the shoulders of this person this is right now. And they say that they won't be able to do it. But I just know that if I send you this time next week, maybe you would have empowered them to be able to give that medication. And that means the world to me. I don't know how it's become like this, but sometimes it's actually an appointment to just coach the pet owner to help them get to a place within themselves that they're okay to do this, that they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And listening. And they always feel, they always say, oh, I feel so stupid. I feel so silly. I'm not good enough for my animal. And I said, are you kidding me? You're not good enough for your animal? Look at the way he's looking at you, darling, Come on, let's just have a cup of tea and a chat. And I come in and I'm on the kitchen floor with the dog and the pet owner. And we talk and I hear. And they need this. They need this veterinary human support. This is the one missing piece that we have in veterinary medicine. Listening. Soft medicine. Doesn't mean you're weak or just fluffy, or it's no butterflies and fairies and blowing dandelions. We can perform magic, but we can make the journey of a pet owner, however short or however long, we can make it really good. So let's stop being Victorian and move forward. Yeah. Have the courage. Courage is with heart, with passion. That's where the word courage comes from.
Right.
Have the courage to be human. And once you're human and you're at one with the human of that patient, then you'll be able to help that patient. One of my greatest mentors is Professor Alison Lambert. She's a veterinary surgeon in the UK. She's the founder of UnSwitch, okay? And she has been preaching for 30 years in the veterinary industry here in the UK, in Australia, in all over the world. She has been saying, we achieve successful patient outcomes when we work with the people that live with them. So what does it require to work? Okay. And what do we do for people in a workplace that have any disabilities? Non-visible or visible, we adapt. Yeah, it's called, what's it called? Reasonable adjustments or something like that.
Sure.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we doing this with pet owners? We should be one vet team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that triangle is so important. Yeah, veterinary nurse, pet owner, veterinary surgeon. And the one sentient being that we all care about is in the middle, which is this animal, which is just a bundle of joy. And that joy is what I'm here for. And the joy to me, that little fluffy thing or big fluffy thing or bird or goldfish or I don't care. At the end of the day, the human being and that animal go plodding along. They sit in their home. They have a cup of tea. They go to bed together. They wake up in the morning, ready for another day. And all I care about is to protect them. And that they have no anxiety, no worry, and that they know that there are people in the world that have their backs.
Mm.
That's all I care about. That's all I care about. For however long it is written in the universe that this animal and this human are going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
No animal should go before their time because their pet owner cannot administer a treatment plan. They shouldn't leave them. They shouldn't be rehomed. If all it takes is a veterinary technician to come and help them, why isn't it already available and accessible and affordable?
Yes.
Worldwide.
Yes.
Worldwide. Because it's almost like we ask all of those things of you guys, because all of these things now we know we are powered with human medicine. We can find out everything and we can treat it. But, come on, the help needs to be there as well to then beyond that consulting room.
I love how you pointed out just knowing that they are supported, because I think feeling alone and feeling like my pet depends on me, I have to do everything myself. This is all on my shoulders. I have to make all the decisions for them. I need to pay for it. I need to do everything for it. It's really a lot. It's, having your child's life in your hands, basically.
But what happens when your child becomes sick and you're going maybe through a divorce, or you have a boss who is an absolute ASS, and he says, well, I don't care if your dog needs a tablet 3 times a day. You work from A to Z, and I don't care he's at home and he's in pain. It's not a human where I'm legally obliged to give you the time to go home and do this. Yeah.
Right. Yes, this is why we need to work on the pet bill of rights or something.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Or so what about if you're in a situation where it's actually emotionally, how you can emotionally handle something is also an ability. And sometimes we're not in the best place. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But we have help.
Yeah. And I love also just talking about the soft medicine, the caring, the listening, the compassion, the courage. And I think it is a missing part in the veterinary field. And I think it's gotten worse as corporate entities have taken over so many vet practices and instilled quotas that they need to meet. And there's often not time to just sit and talk and listen. And, I've been in many vets' offices where I felt so rushed and just like they didn't have time. They couldn't wait to get out of the room because they had to get to the next one because they had a quota to meet. And it's not their fault, but I just wish it was different. And thank you for all that you're doing to make it different.
I try because I actually one of them. I am one of them. I'm one of you, and I am just hoping to do the best in the little corner of my world. And if it ripples anywhere else in the world, well, that would be amazing. But yes, I think every single veterinary professional is torn inside. Yeah. That rush. Yeah.
And I'm sure they don't want to rush.
Yeah. No,
either.
They don't. And they don't want to they don't want to follow a flow chart either. They want to cut to the chase and do the best for the patient and that pet owner. But in some places in the world, someone is reading at their neck saying, you didn't follow the line.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult.
And that's, retention of veterinary professionals is a real concern in the world. There are lots and lots and lots of cats and dogs now as pets. The pandemic have seen a huge increase in pet ownership. However, I don't know your numbers there, guys, in the States, but here we are just like 30,000 vets on the ground. On the frontline qualified nurses, who knows, maybe about 15,000. And that's all you've got. And we have 12 million dogs, 12 million cats known to be registered in veterinary practices. How do you cope? And the thing is that, I don't know, I am in practice as well. I'm not a spring chicken. I don't know how I manage. It's because I wake up every day wanting to make a difference somehow. I also work in practice some days, and I work in the community some other days. And I see so many vets and nurses burnout is massive, but they have children, they have a mortgage. And when their veterinary practices are taken over by corporates, it's pretty much down to the assertiveness of the staff that are already in there to try and keep their values as much as possible and not be overrun like ivy, a building overrun with ivy.
Yes.
So and it's funny, even two veterinary practices of the same corporate company is strong enough. One might be stronger than the other in the personalities that they have inside. And they're like, no, we've always done it a certain way, and we're not going to shortchange our clients on that just because you've come on board now buying it and getting all our toys. I don't feel I need to do these tests. And this is the medication I want to get. And I appreciate that it doesn't come from the wholesalers that you tell us, but from another wholesalers. But this medication is actually better for my patient.
Or cheaper.
Or cheaper. But that is very rare. And it depends very much on how strong that clinical director of that veterinary practice is.
And they have to be very strong because they're probably having
very strong people
constantly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm very fortunate that when I'm in my role of a community veterinary nurse, I hear what the vet says, and I kind of then hear what the vet means.
Mm.
And what the vet means is how he wants me to help that pet owner. So one thing is administer the treatment plan, and I go exactly by the book of what the vet says, and then I report back, and all my reports are formal and official, and they go to the vet, and I give always a copy to the pet owner, because there is nothing I would say to a vet that I wouldn't say to a pet owner. And that is something that is very rare, because I think pet owners are never offered their clinical notes, but in fact, they are your property and you could have them.
Yes.
You see, because you're part of it and nothing happens without you. And the thing is, I think it's very hard to understand in 15 minutes in a veterinary office what that vet that is so rushed has been trying to tell you. And the hearts of some veterinary surgeons are constantly clenched, and they need the help, and they contact me, and I go, and that repetition again of what they said, and I help with concordance, which is just making sure that you understand what I understand, and that you see what I see, and that together we are a team to help your beloved animal companion, your family member. And that was quite brutal and quite hard, that my heart goes out to veterinary surgeons that don't have this support. Yeah.
The support is needed on both sides. So
absolutely,
the veterinarians and the pet parents, this triangle that you talked about.
Absolutely. Sorry, I say pet owners because it's just so British to say pet owners. I'm so sorry. It's
what did
to
I
ownership.
Say? Pet parent?
Pet parents, which is much nicer, because ownership, really, we don't know anything.
Well, and in fact, I really prefer pet guardian.
Pet guardian. We are just entrusted with the care of these animals, that we provide food, water, adequate nutrition, adequate companionship, exercise, and veterinary care. You know, the 5 freedoms, as they call them, of animal welfare. So in this time and space reality, I am a human being. And if I guard the well-being of animals, then it's a very happy passage in this lifetime for me in this planet. And just a passage. I don't own anything at all. I'm just full of gratitude to be here. I might not come back again. Who knows? But if in this time, space, and reality, in this lifetime, I can hold someone's hand and say, you know what? I haven't got it all figured out. I don't know how birth is going to be this time next year. But right now, we're just going to do this if you want to. And the vet sent me to help out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's make sure Bert is happy and he can keep talking to the neighbors.
Let's do this. I love it. Carla, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. And I know that your website has so many resources and case studies and information. So where can people find that?
So it is www.dvn, that's District Veterinary Nurse, but it's shortened as D for District, V for Veterinary, N for Nurse, hub.com, www.dvnhub.com.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll have all the links and resources and everything in the show notes if anyone wants to find that at wearwagrepeat.com. And thank you again, Carla, for your time and sharing your wonderful story with us.
Oh, what a pleasure. Thank you for holding this beautiful space for me today. I can't thank you enough, and I hope to make it over to you at some point, visit your country, and say hello to Lucy and Bert and roll on the floor with them.
I hope that you do. That would be amazing.
You'll be the first person I call.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Carla, and thanks again. Some of the best conversations happen after the episode. Send me a note on Instagram at Wear Wag Repeat, or find even more women petpreneurs to connect with in our private Facebook group called Wear Wag Repeat Labs. If you want to dig into more episodes, resources to grow your business, or find a link to something we discussed, it is all right there for you at wearwagrepeat.com. I'll see you back here next Wednesday for a fresh conversation.